for SMG is pretty strong. You get the split off, you just tornado up the Invoker, tornado up the safe laner, focus on the squishier targets, clean up from there. Ag's timing and refresh for the brew down line as well is going to be big for Raging. So I'm loving this draft from SMG. I think it plays into their playstyle really well. You've got the Afu special. Fnatic go back into the morph. We don't have the natural morphling combinations on Fnatic's side. You know, they don't have the option for Spirit Breaker. It's been banned. They don't have the Shaker on their side, although you could still turn into the Shaker, but it's not as safe because you're going to have to do it in the middle of a team fight. And maybe the key thing for Fnatic here is just having good lane matchup against Brew. You do play pretty far. Brewmaster can't just run up, use all his spells. You've got some mobility on the Morphling, so you're not completely locked in. But it is very passive. I think I worry for Fnatic's pacing here because Morphling takes some build up. Invoker can play fast, but he actually does want to also just build up a little bit, maybe until the 15-20 minute mark at best, and then run around once he's got a lot of charges on the urn. Maybe level 15 as well for the best mix of spells, and that's going to take time. I think Fnatic's draft is leaning towards being a bit slower here in comparison to SMG.
Certainly does feel that way. Morphling always feels kind of weird right now as well. Like, yeah, it doesn't feel like you can go shotgun build immediately. Like, you got to play a bit more defensively usually, and I think it's very, very slow. Like, SMG, I mean, they haven't picked up their POS 1 yet, so SMG might match that kind of slow-paced draft, but I agree with John. I think SMG can get very, very aggressive very early, and depending on what they give mid 1, it might be a very similar story to the last game. Like, you could give him a hero like Razor again, and I think it would fit very nicely. Mind you, later on, you might struggle a little bit into the Morphling, and you probably don't want Razor because you don't want to give him Static Link. But something along those lines, I think, would fit very nicely, and SMG could just run over them.
Is there enough right now on Fnatic's draft to allow the space and allow that stalling out for Morphling to come online, John?
It doesn't. I honestly feel like it doesn't, just because you've got Line Tide Invoker. If that is a core Tide, you're tied into just waiting for Ravage. Right, like that's your big team fight spell for Tide. Beyond that, he might just be looking to farm as well. So maybe the best way for Fnatic to run this now is to run a pos 5 Tide, pos 4 line, something else in the off lane here for jabs that can play a little bit more up tempo. And you see SMG kind of responding that way, taking out the Tusk, taking out the Pangolier, taking out some big offlaners that don't have too much cooldowns to wait for and can set up. I think Fnatic needs to find a hero like that to ensure that your three heroes can at least run and gun around the offlaner while waiting for the Invoker to hit its early spike and then buy that space out for the Morphling to snowball. But up against SMG's lineup, I feel like that's already a difficult prospect. You've got the saves from the Shadow Demon, you've got Afu Shaker, and Moon potentially on the Quap just looking to be aggressive early on, especially after, say, Kaya Sanj. Now, those are pretty quick timings for SMG to hit, and they're really going to be looking to kind of replicate game 1. Just run and gun and keep pressuring Fnatic.
Oh, they go for the Ursa too. I like that. I think there's not really great ways to deal with the Ursa and Rage this game. Like, so much disable on Fnatic, but as long as mid one's got that Enrage, and once he gets the shards up to make matters even worse, I think you're going to have a lot of problems shutting him down, and it does, again, follow that kind of mid-game orientated draft that they have. Like, past that 15-minute, 20-minute mark, you're going to see mid one joining his team again. And Fnatic is going to need a lot more time for Raven to hit that same mark on the Morphling. So I really like the pick. I think it suits them very well, and there's nothing good for the Morphling to take off the Ursa either if you morph into him. So yeah, I think it's one of the pretty damn good pick for SMG.
Big praise to SMG then with the closeout of their draft as we wait for the next
Oh
final pick.
my god.
Wait, what?
Oh
John,
my god.
you need to explain this to me. I'm not gonna lie, I did not understand where this Venom has come from. You gotta tell me all about it.
The lane matchup against Ursa is good. The hero is not good. I think that's the best we can say. Mike, you're a big fan of the Venomancer last pick. Let's hear your thoughts about this.
Oh, John, you got me started. Listen, it was TI-10, right? T1, I thought they were going to go on a great run. And then I see them draft Cuckoo, Veno, and I got so upset. I mean, you can ask the admins. I was in Discord raging about it. I knew we'd lost at that point at TI-10. It's happening to me again. I'm getting PTSD. I wanted to see a game 3 between these two. And Fnatic, they've chosen Veno. I have no faith in it, Nat. I have absolutely no
Oh.
faith in this hero. None.
Well, I was gonna ask for predictions, but I feel like I can just immediately pick it. With MLP, you definitely go on the side of SMG here. And John, I know you love this Earthshaker as well and Arfu, so I think that speaks for itself. And another thing that's going to speak for itself is game number 2. As we are going to jump into it, I will let you both take it away.
Thank you very much, Nat. We'll get into it. Game number 2 between Fnatic and SMG set to get underway. Oh, hello, Nat. You're back. Nice to see you.
Anywhere.
We couldn't get rid of you. That's
No.
well, that's kind of fortunate. We like having you here, Nat. Don't you worry. You can cast with us. No, apparently not. Production doesn't want you here. Fair enough. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire. We're back in for game number 2. John, I mean, the Venom pick is good laning against the Ursa, right? That's something you and I agree on. You are going to be able to really annoy this Ursa. But I agree with your point. Later on, what does Venomancer do in this game?
He drops one big circle and dies. And it's not
It's a
even a
big circle.
particularly impact. It's big circle. It's not the most impactful circle. I think for Fnatic, they're really focusing on lanes. What my bigger concern here, Mike, is DJ Tide. And DJ Tide comes out, and he is such a great 4. He loves playing aggressive. He sets up. We saw his Hoodwink do a lot of work. Tide Hunter is not that aggressive, especially when Ravage is down. Tide does not do anything. He has no mobility until Blink. He has very close range spells. I don't know if Fnatic's going to be able to find that pacing, and I just like SMG's draft a lot better.
When we go to game number 2, and again, we have that beautiful sky view brought to you by Neff. Very, very nice to see. I couldn't help but notice as well, Neff was giving us some sky view around the Roshan pit before a Roshan fight. So this is very technical stuff. There's Pythian Legume as well, obviously our observer. Thank you, Pythian. Shout out to him, doing a fantastic job to boot. We've got the best production team over here at BTS, Jonathan, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Definitely do. Maybe a bit of an argument over Neff, but Pythian's definitely the best in the job there, Mike.
Well, I meant Pythian. You know I didn't include Neff. Come on.
Oh, poor Neff. He's gonna be so he's gonna express himself in BTS Pro Series 10 and NA when that does kick back in. Still, we've got the series coming up. Neff showcases Pythian. There you go. Some backing up from Pythian. This game should be fun though. As fun as our obs are. I mean, Afu Shaker, Mike. Like outside of, going away from the negatives of maybe a Venomancer, you've got Afu Shaker. I mean, it might be hard into Venomancer, right? Your Blink's going to be cancelled, but this is still Afu on his best hero. It's a treat from SMG.
Yeah. Mid one, I like the positioning in that Roshan fog as they're going to find jabs on that Venomancer, though. A nice Earth Spike is out from Januel. That'll slow them down, but the Fisher block will connect onto jabs. But they've already had enough. They're not willing to go any further. Just a bit of a delay, a bit of damage here onto Fnatic. In the end, I believe it was a 2-for-2 trade on those bounty runes, so a nice even start. And you did make the comment, John. You didn't seem to be the biggest fan of this DJ Pos 4 Tide. He is with jabs on the Pos 3 Venomancer, so you do have that kind of nice little synergy with the Gush and the slow from the Gale and the Poison Sting. I suppose that could be quite detrimental here to mid one and Roger. Especially if they do go too far ahead, though. Speaking of the Devils, Fu's even going to show up, and they really want that kill on that Veno. Just shut him down before the lane even begins, but Jabs, he's doing a good job of trying to juke out, but not good enough. Not for Arfu, who does block him in, but Jabs can just TP right out. It's a nice escape there from Jabs. The rotation in from Arfu, not going to pay off thus far.
I still like the tri-lane start, though, but it's as you mentioned, Mike, all the slows are making it hard for mid one to connect to this aggression, but SMG's not stopping. They know this level 1's a lot stronger for their side in maintaining the tri-lane. They're sacrificing EXP on Afu, but he tends to play greedier down the line anyway, so he's just going to farm up to make up for it, and they're just going to look to go again.
Yeah, he won't have TP this time around, so Jab's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, but you are still only level 1 on all these 3 heroes on SMG. So Jabs, he can waste quite a bit of time. Look how slow mid one is right now. He just doesn't move. So Arfu's going to have to go do it him damn self. As Jabs still running around as this Pos 3 Veno, eventually to die, and Arfu's going to take it. And that's probably one of the best starts you could ask for as the Shaker. Naturally, the faster you can get that blink up, the better. And now he has that nice first blood bonus goal to work with as they go in onto DJ to boot. And DJ, without that level 1 Kraken Show, is not really that tanky yet, though he is taking a fair bit of damage, but Arfu can body block with those brown boots, and that's going to be another kill setup here for the side of SMG. Roger to take this one.
Love the aggression coming out from SMG. They just read this dual lane of Fnatic. They realize that it's very susceptible to dying, and they just kill it over and over again. Like, you could afford to leave Raging Potato alone. This is a Brewmaster. It's not going to be under pressure from a Morphling. It's not going to be bullied out. It might not find farm. It will still hold its own, and SMG are still keeping that trial lane. The longest we've seen a trial lane stay around for.
Well, they've even forced Genuel to rotate to make his own tri-lane now, so tri-lane on tri-lane action, which is something you and I have missed for a very long time. But here we go. Which tri-lane is better? We'll find out very soon, assuming Arfu does stick around on the Shaker. It's going to be scouted out here by Genuel. DJ will rotate with the Gush in, but without jabs around, with that Gale, you're not going to have enough damage and slow to deal with Arfu at the moment. Because keep in mind, he still has those brown boots, so that movement speed already quite high for the Shaker. Fnatic, I mean, as the creep waves underneath that tier 1 tower, they seem just kind of lost right now, but never mind, because Roger gives them a bit of an opening and something to do. They'll slow him down and eventually should be able to take him out, but Arfu's looking for the deny, and he's going to get it. Very nice deny there from Arfu, as Fnatic will get nothing for their time and trouble.
Yeah, and that's just helping SMG get a little bit more from this trial lane. Like, what's happening now in the trial lane is that their focus isn't on mid one. They're focusing on the supports here on Fnatic's end, and that's giving a little bit more leeway for that Ursa to farm. Now, you aren't finding as much farm as Raven. Raven's still winning out because he has a one-on-one lane. But you are at least giving mid one a much more manageable lane up against Tide Veno, which is, I think, the entire point. They're just relieving what might happen to mid one, giving him a room to play in. Because otherwise, Veno Tide is actually pretty strong in the first 10 minutes. The issue is you're going to have to find a way to manage that Morphling, because Raven has free farm. Raging is keeping up, but not to the same extent that Raven is. And I think you see a Morphling this farmed with a kill, you're going to have to worry about that scaling on that Morphling early on.
A very nice kill there from Raven. Raging Potato just a little bit out of position, too overly confident in that Drunken Brawler. And to be fair to him, he did evade one hit, but couldn't evade the second. To top lane again, looks like we are going to have a bit of action breaking out, but no Fisher to fly out from Arfu. They are going to try and turn back in onto Roger, but there's your Fisher out. Genuel into the Earth Spike as DJ will keep going, giving that vision for jabs, and the Sunstrike now from Armel to set up, but Roger is still alive, and now the Deny can come right back up, but no DJ. He gets the Gush this time. They will be able to take the life of Roger, so it does seem like this tri-lane and Fnatic is really starting to pan out.
And they're starting to get some punishment off. And again, you are getting some space for mid one. The attention isn't on him, but he is losing a lot in this lane to just get this done. I think the sacrifices SMG are making are going to haunt them down the line if they're not careful. I think they're not winning the bot lane at all, as we mentioned, and the mid lane's also not going too well for Moon. Lots of denies out from Armel. Our Invoker's been able to hold on, carry through, hit the leveled spikes. So you're running this trial lane, you're keeping everyone pinned down here, but you're losing out, arguably losing out in your two other lanes. That is hurting SMG's long term here.
Trying to make the jump here onto mid one. The Fisher will block, so they won't be able to pursue. It's been non-stop action at this top lane, and I did want to have a look at the other lanes, but just things aren't stopping here. So we'll stick around here for a while. See how see when the next skill does come along, as it does seem like they are setting up now with the disruption. Fisher is there from Arfu if he wants to commit, and eventually does in the tree line to block off jabs, and now with the double stun out, jabs has no way out. As DJ, no, a great Earth Spike from Genuel to try and help as the Cataclysm, or rather, the Sunstrike comes in, mid one gets caught out, but they still at least get DJ down. So a 2-for-1, Fnatic do get the opposing position one. And you made the comparison earlier between mid one and Raven. And Raven is still ahead in terms of CS, so is that worth for Fnatic, John?
It's starting to feel like it is. It's definitely worthwhile for Fnatic. For SMG, not so much. They're the ones still keeping the tri lane up. And this is not just slowing down mid one to an extent, it's slowing down Afu. He's still level 3, he does have arcane boots up, but that blink timing is going to be a bit off. The echo timing, level 6 is going to be a bit off as well, and Afu is a bit too forward.
Yeah, they've caught him out, but they've got help here. Raging Potato moving in actually blocks out a lot of the Sunstrike damage, but they still get the kill with the Gush as Raging. He'll go for the dive after Jabs. With all these Brewlings, he should eventually be able to get the Veno, and he does. We've seen Veno play from behind. It's a very rough position here for Jabs, but now maybe they could punish Raging as you've got a rotation to come in from Armel and help out with that Cold Snap. But again, the Drunken Brawler going to allow him to get out scot-free, it seems. So Raging Potato does manage to make the aggressive play pay off. And Fnatic, there's just nothing they can do about it.
This death actually doesn't matter.
It's a sacrifice to make. I agree with Jabs using this voice line. I don't think it matters that they're committing so much up top because you've enabled Armel to just farm up. He's going Midas now. He's not under pressure to go earn. He knows he can play this longer game because all the attention's off of him. Raven as well is almost at the Falcon Blade, and he can start farming up quite fast in jungle with the CS lead he has. So Fnatic's actually getting more out of this tri lane. They're still pinning mid one down, but they're counteracting what SMG wants to get done here as well, although Moon is coming up here now.
Arfu's in trouble though, but they are going to try and make the plays out with this Queen of Pain as the Fisher does block in Jabs another time, but the Plague Ward going to block them out, so they actually can't follow up that time around. Nice little plays. The Sunstrike's going to land from Armel. Oh, that's a perfect position. So Armel gets it from across the map. Nothing Arfu could have done about that one.
And that's starting to pile up. 2 Sunstrike kills for Armel. Midas almost done. Less than 10 minutes in with 1 boot up and the null. You're in a good position now for that Invoker. He has a free mid lane because of Moon's early rotation. You have a free lane for Raven. Like, this is the perfect start for Fnatic. Even though it looks a bit wonky with a tri-lane top, yeah, you could argue the Venomancer's not going to hit some early item spikes here. Doesn't matter. He's doing his job in lane. He's just getting all the attention and forcing such a strong response that SMG is making huge sacrifices to make. Like we talked about Afu wanting to play greedy, that does lead to the tri-lane breaking off now. But what have you lost to get that done? Raven's level 9. He's level 9 from the solo lane. Mid one's still 5.
He's 1k ahead as well, that Morphling, John. He's pulling very far ahead. It's not like Ursa's a flash farmer per se. Though mid one is farming up at Battle Fury, to be fair, so I guess he will be flash farming at some stage as they try to chase down Raging Potato now. Does juke them out on the tree line, and with the Earth Spike missing, you don't really have the setup. You do have the Primal Split here, though, for Raging, so they are going to smoke up along with Arfu. Looks like they are going to try and head into that mid lane where they might just find Armel. Armel seems to realize something is awry, so does back off, but he's going to run right into SMG as he farms the creep, but it's probably going to have to be an expensive one as Armel does get caught out. Moon's there to follow up, and that should be your Invoker kill, but now Raven is going to come in on that Morphling, and it does seem like they'll try to focus down the Shaker, but Jabs again dropping low on Moon. He'll come back in. They've got the Veno down. Raven, meanwhile, still trying to go after that Quap, but he does get the Queen of Pain in the end. A worthwhile kill here for Fnatic, as they might even find another core on the side of SMG, and they will. Raven to take a triple kill on the Morphling, and if he wasn't far ahead enough already, he is really starting to pull now, John.
Oh yeah, that's scary. I mean, it's a good move out from SMG. They needed some aggression to come out. They needed to punish the Invoker. Jab's still on point with a voice line because it favors them in the end. Raven gets the kills. He's working towards an E-Blade. This is a scary Morphling. This is so early on for the Morphling to be so far ahead in terms of gold and EXP. He still has that massive level lead over mid one. Heck, he's right above Moon as well. So you've got to find a way to control the Morphling. I think the pressure is going to be on Raging and on Roger to really pin down the Morphling in the middle of these fights with the disruption, with the Cyclones out, because I don't know if you're going to have enough damage quite yet. It doesn't feel like they managed to farm well enough in SMG to burst down a Morphling.
Could be a big gank bot lane and top lane, as it seems like mid one's going to be chased now, but bot lane, Raven's also in trouble, so it's a bit of a split situation going on as they actually have caught out Raven, but the TPs are going to come in. Waveform forward as DJ. He does have the Ravage up on that Tide, so you definitely can afford to try and force a fight. Doesn't seem like it's going to work out that way, though, so instead, Arfu's going to TP top. So there's a nice sticker there of Jabs. Love that one, as Genuel going to get Echo slammed up, and they're just going to take a nice, easy kill. Mid one to pick up that one on the Ursa. Something he probably does need right now to be able to just try and catch up to this Morphling, as he is still 1.3k behind Raven.
Still quite the gap. I think once mid one does have that Battle Fury, they do have some decent stacks in the triangle. Some good ancient stacks, so there is going to be some good catch-up for him there for the Ursa, but you have to reach that point and you have to protect that area. The good news for SMG is that Fnatic hasn't really crossed that side of the river, and SMG are still finding some aggression out with Raging, just forcing these two heroes onto him, forcing a response. He does have the full Spirit Vessel, so Raven isn't as durable as he'd want to be, and he's got to be a bit cautious going forward now.
This is when things get very scary for Raven, as they have a way to finally deal with that strength morph. And well, Moon's shown up as well. They seem to want to address DJ at the start. Make sure the Ravage is not going to be available if a fight does break out. Eventually have him. That does buy plenty of time though for Raven to TP up to the top lane and make sure he can just continue hitting creeps. In fact, they might even try to go after Arfu now, as the Gale does connect. Raven, it will go into that tree line, but Arfu gonna go for a TP out, and he might just make it. Raven, no! He couldn't hit the stun in time, and now, with the Spirit Vessel out, Raging Potato's gonna try and trade. Jabs is down to the Sonic Wave of Moon and Raven. He'll waveform to the right, but Moon's found him. They know exactly where that Morphling's gone. Still keep the fight going, but Raven now, he has the blink up, thanks to that Queen of Pain form, but Moon is not giving up on the chase. With the Shadow Poison, they can keep the vision up, but Raven does get away with his life intact. Ultimately, though, they still find Jabs, and Arfu does not end up dying.
Yeah, and SMG is starting to achieve some really good space out for mid one. He had the Battle Fury, he cleared out the Ancients. Good farm for him to catch up. Now the gap isn't so wide, and they've got the smoke rotation to deal with Armel here.
Fisher gonna land. Swalk is there, but they have the sentries. The question is, do they have enough damage? They don't have the ulti of the Quap, but with the Purge there and the Shadow Strike, it's just so much slower than Armel. His only option was to try for the TP play, but it is not gonna work.
They get the kill they need on SMG. And now, SMG, from this aggression, has started to get the lead back. DJ, though, looking to be forward here.
You've got the DD rune on Moon. Arfu, nice Fisher, but a finger is there with the Ravage, but a nice disruption in from Roger. That'll just make the stun completely worthless. The Echo Slam does get committed. They do kill Arfu, but they might lose DJ in response, and now Raven's in danger. They'll slow him up. The Vessel's out. Raging providing even more slow here onto this Morphling, but he does have the waveform. But how much is that going to do as Moon? He'll pop the Sonic Wave, and that's a mega kill streak to go the way of Roger, of all people.
Yeah, this is a happy Shadow Demon. And of course, you have an Ursa, Mike. So SMG, from those kills, knowing Ravage is down, can go straight to the pit. Now, you don't have lifesteal in mid one. So this can be a slow process, but with Raging to tank, it shouldn't be that slow any longer. Fnatic, they know something's up. They've got the Sunstrike, but without Ravage, it just feels a bit difficult to pierce in there.
They're going to try, it seems. They've got Januel moving in. Earthspike does actually land. He's trying, but Moon does take the Aegis for himself. Januel, he does the risky play, but it was high risk, high reward. And, well, the risk does kick in as DJ is going to try to run. Got no way of saving himself here. No Ravage up. He'll just try to hide in the trees, but Moon, again, just on point with these blinks. Does assist in taking down the Tide. And things are looking very good now for SMG, Jonathan. 4k net worth lead here for the Dire. Aegis up on their Quap. And even with all that farm on Raven, he has been overtaken by the Ursa, is now Raging again. Going to try and go for a solo pickoff. The Vessel just doing so much work. And now with the Purge out, they can really just hold Raven down. But no, Raven is still just running away as Raging will continue the chase up. But do they really have enough damage? It doesn't seem like it. Jab's going to join in. Raging now could be in danger. He's going to try and fight back, and Jabs is actually dropping quite low, but with Armel to rotate, they should have plenty of damage and control. But Roger again just buying more time. So SMG are not making the... Oh, maybe they do. Roger! He kills off Raven!
What?
He killed off Raven! The Shadow Poison.
Oh, God.
I think it just added up, and we'll get a replay very soon, I'm sure. I want to see how that happened. As Moon kills off Jabs. Januel just stuck in the tree line, gonna try and hide, but there is just no hiding. SMG are all around him. He'll just buy more time, but there's no time. Righto, Neff, let's see how good the replay is, sir. Bring it on.
That is just ridiculous, though. This aggression from SMG is lining up so well. Fnatic are just being bullied. Like, It looked like they had such a good start. Like that 5k net worth on a Morphling early on was big. The level advantage they had on Raven was huge, but SMG, I think the big timing for them was when they started to clump up top and give the Battle Fury Ursa the Ancients. That's when things turned its head, because they managed to take the fights top. Moon, just with a Kai at that point, was doing enough damage up front, and they managed to take control, and you see that replay. Take a look. Yeah, he had 4. Oh my god, he was in lion form. He had no HP. He was in lion. He was something else, and he just burned out. And yeah, the Shadow Demon just got punished. He didn't shift out in time. Oh, Afu.
Oh, they've caught out Armel, and Armel, he's a valuable pick-off to take as DJ pops the Ravage. They're going to try and fight back. Januel lines up a stun, fingers there. Mid one, though, he's still alive, but he's dropping low himself. This could be a very valuable kill, and they've left Mid one to die. He'll fight till the bitter end. Fnatic, they'll lose Armel. Oh, Moon, he's going to jump back in. Januel is gone, and now DJ, thinking they were safe, is going to get punished. In fact, make that a 4th now as Jabs. He also made his way over. So while it took SMG a long time to make that play happen, they do get the better end of this team fight.
And they make it work. They just know where to be. The Aegis was on Moon, so you didn't have that protection for mid one, but Moon's just fine. Like, he is on really low HP from the damage from Jabs, but he finds a regen. Would you look at that luck, Mike? You just find everything you want there. So he's going to be back in the fight. Minute 40 seconds left on Aegis. E-Blade up on Raven is a pretty big spike, though. So the damage output, the burst potential for Raven is there. But he doesn't have that durability yet. He doesn't have that protection. He's going to need a BKB. And he's going to farm up for it. I think this is where we start to see maybe that slow aspect of Fnatic's draft kick in. You know, they need farm on a Morphling. They need farm and levels on an Invoker. Down the line, though, this will pay off. They're going for Ags on Armel. Ravage Cataclysm will be a factor in these engages. And SMG's going to have to be careful about that. But we've seen Afu. He positions himself, Roger, we've seen it so well. His positioning with the disruption saves. If he manages to save at least one of the cores in the Ravage Kata, it gets a bit scary. I think SMG has enough to fight back down the line up against that combo.
You see those odds up as well. SMG 3.2. I'd imagine they'd be a lot lower right now considering the position they're in, but still, apparently the favorites are Fnatic. So the viewers, or at least the people betting, have faith that Fnatic is still able to pull through later on. And I suppose it is fair, right? Like, it is still a Morphling at the end of the day. It's just that SMG's found the answer, at least for now, as they have found another target, and that's going to be Jabs. That'll be your Venomancer gone. Raging Potato able to take that one with the Cinderbrew Spirit Vessel. And into that mid-tier 1 tower SMG goes. I mean, they've got their own BKB up now on mid 1, so he's just become a real difficult target to try and aim down. And I think it's just a massive power spike for SMG to take advantage of.
Yeah, they've got a lot to play with. Fnatic, though, will smoke up. Aegis does expire. This is a good time.
Ravage immediately on Moon. They are not playing around. Sunstrike was there as well, but Moon, he is surviving again. Ravage completely wasted now as Armel gets caught out. Raging Potato's going to do it his damn self. And he takes him down. Moon coming back in for a double kill before he goes down himself. But it's well worth the trade, as they even found Raven with a Cyclone. Jabs forced to pop the Poison Nova, but Raven is still surrounded. He'll waveform back south. SMG again, just able to keep making plays as now Arfu's in with the Echo Slam. They'll find the offlane Veno. DJ is going to try and trade along with Raven, but they've got to be so careful not to overextend. So the Fade Grenade does connect along with that Cinderbrew Spirit Vessel. And mid 1 really wanted to try and force that fight. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a blink to really break the gap. But as SMG, I mean, you're still sitting very happy right now with the 6k net worth advantage.
Yeah, you're well ahead at this point in game, 21 minutes in. They need to take the objectives, though, Mike. I feel like that's where they're lagging a bit behind. That mid-tier 1 needs to fall. They focused on the kills a bit more, so I think Fnatic got what they wanted from that fight, in that they protect their mid-tier 1 for now. Push from SMG can be a bit strong, but they need to commit, and I think Fnatic are going to be able to regroup. Issue is no Ravage, and we talked about that for support Tide. We talked about that specifically for DJ. He wants to make these plays happen. He's got the blink, he's got the Tumblr story. But what do you do with a Tide 4 without Ravage? You don't do much. You stand forward, you maybe get their attention, you maybe toss an Anchor Smash out. Not enough for the follow-up fights, and SMG will eventually find what they want. And they'll just be able to build up. 2 minutes until next Roche, a minute 40 till we see that timer. SMG are just going to take control in the triangle, constantly force the issue here, and just transition to another Roshan. They have a Ursa. They kind of just want to do that over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Jabs, mid lane, Cinderbrew going to connect. Arthur looking for the follow-up Fisher, but is not going to be able to land it. The 4-star was there in time. Jabs does end up losing half his HP though to that one combination, which is kind of scary, but you know, why the hell not? It's fine. So I mean, what can Fnatic do right now, John? I mean, they've obviously fallen quite far behind. The pace that SMG is applying is just way too fast. Is there anything in particular they can do to try and slow down the pace a little bit?
Just avoid these fights. And I think that's the best you can do. Do not force any engagement yet until Ravage is back up. You've got Cataclysm ready if you want to play that way.
And there it is, Cataclysm onto Moon, and that's a target you wanted to see die. Mil able to take that one, though Disruption is going to catch out Raven, so maybe they could find an even better trade as Raven's going to try to run, but there's just so much damage from mid one. He'll waveform the other way around, but Roger's chasing him down with these Shadow Poisons. Still EMP out from Mil to try and counter out Roger. And eventually, they should have the Shadow Demon Death, and they do. So they don't quite avoid the fight, but they found a very good fight for themselves after killing off Moon, and well, that might just be the trick. If you can kill this Quap with that Cataclysm, then you could just take any fight you really want.
Yeah, you got to be a bit cautious there for Moon. He did not manage to use his BKB in time, so he does get punished there. And that does give a good bleed over towards Fnatic. A nice gold swing, not enough to turn the tides, but suddenly put them back in the momentum swing. Roshan still a bit off. A minute and a half until the respawn. I think SMG's just going to have to look for something to kill first before that Roche does come out. See Raging just feeling very confident. You're going to have that spike on the Brewmaster soon, Mike. Ag's only maybe just 2 parts away. And once you've got that doubled split, the Raging can do a lot of work there.
Mel's getting kind of surrounded down a bot, I think. Do they know he's there? I don't believe they had the vision. A lot of heroes moving down. Mel not going to show on a creep wave, and oh, never mind. Looks like he's going to be just fine in that tree line. Almost thought for a second SMG had the vision as they all just kind of moved their way over across the map. Fnatic, on the other hand, however, still grouped up as 4. No smoke to come out. Mel will TP back to the team, however, and it does seem like they are pinging out Roshan. So obviously that's the next big objective for both sides, and well, for Fnatic this time around, you'd rather not let SMG take it as they make the jump in onto Raging Potato. They'll try to burst him down, and they will. Janual to fall, though, to mid one. And, of course, a double damage rune does spawn up right before Roshan.
As is tradition, it does go the way of Arm Melt, so it's not going to speed up the process for SMG. That's a pretty big pick off to find. You blow up the Brewmaster, you take away the split. No defensive items at all on Raging, so he's always going to be vulnerable to that. You're going to want an A on disc in this game, I think. And that's still way off the line, waiting for the Ags first. Fnatic, they can force this next fight. They've got Ravage ready if they want to jump in here.
And they're going to commit immediately, but Disruption is going to save mid one. Marfu barely getting out of there, and now TJ just trying to get out, but the Sonic Wave's going to connect. Great disruption in from Roger, understanding how much danger mid one was in right there. As they are going to try and back for a reset. Arfu's going to get connected with this tornado and is going to go down. So they do find 2 for their trouble. It's not all bad here for Fnatic. Sure, they wanted the Ursa, but they still get a favorable trade. In fact, Genual's not even done yet. Quick fingers, though, from mid one with the Enrage. Very quick reactions. I think Fnatic will have to be satisfied with that, though Raging Potato's going to come back into the outpost, and he's going to run right into Janual by himself. SMG not prepared for that one.
Yeah, that's very aggressive out from Raging. Again, he does not have any defensive items. No Aeon disc up. You can't do that without an Aeon disc. You can't do that without vision either. He had good wards here from Fnatic to spot them out. And this is going to hold SMG back just a tad. They still have 4 heroes up. Roshan is up and running. But I think they'd want to have that utility coming through from the Brewmaster before going anywhere yet. And Side Fnatic's already in a position to kind of take control of that Roshan. Raven's into the pit. He still has 9 seconds on his BKB. And they've got the damage for the Alacrity up, so SMG's got to move fast here.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the buyback on Raging Potato if you wanted to come back into this fight, but obviously he's only got 15 seconds left to respawn, so he'd rather not. Looks like SMG may have just bought enough time anyway to have Raging back for this fight, because he does also have the primal split. But Fnatic, they're just going to keep going after this Roshan, get understanding how important it is to take this away from SMG. There is going to be a smoke up though. SMG naturally going to be looking to try and contest this. This mid one looking for the jump in. Is not going to commit quite yet. Roshan is dropping lower now. A nice Fisher into the Echo Slam. It's not going to be enough though yet. Raven does get the BKB off, but they just want the Roshan. They're going to try and steal on a mid one. He does snatch it away. Genuine and Jabs both dropping already. And now SMG can really go for the fight as they still get the Aegis to go their way. It's just a perfect initiation from Arfu once again.
Oh man, that's just great timing from the Shaker, and that's why we love that hero for SMG. Now, Fnatic did manage to steal away the shards, so they've got the shards sitting here on John. Well, good snatch, but you lose the Aegis, and that's big. Mid one's going to be protected up front. He's working towards his hags. That enrage cooldown and the use of it during disables means it's going to be so hard to actually burst down the Ursa. They managed to take that top tier 2 as well. So only one outer tower left here for SMG, Mike. Side of Fnatic, they still have great high ground hold. They still have Ravage. There is Cataclysm down the line, so you can't quite just pierce into the racks. But this is giving SMG the time they need to get some of those items finished up. Raging does have the Aeon-Disc, so he's much more protected for that split. And he can work towards the Ags now. And with that combination, with the one defensive item for him to get his use of that big spell off, you're going to have an easier time to run with a Brewmaster up front.
They're going to try and force a fight, knowing the enrage is down for a little bit, but mid one has the Aegis and you've still got Primal split up. I'm not sure about this. Ravage, though, is going to be pretty damn nice as they get 3, but the Primal split's there in time. Raging, he survives through it. He survives through everything as he just chases them down. Raven, he can't run right now. The Ive Skadi slow way too high from mid one as they just keep going. They'll get DJ down in that tide and they want more. They found Armel on the Voca. He's going to BKB up and try to run himself. Meanwhile, Moon blinking towards the south, trying to get jabs, but he does get to the high ground. Still, it was a very forced fight as they even share the Sunstrike damage. That's teamwork for you. And SMG, I was kind of shocked Fnatic go for that fight, John, into the Aegis and Primal Split, but I guess they thought they could at least blow up the Brewmaster.
Yeah, that was on edge. Barely enough damage to kill off Raging. He didn't have the Aeon-Disc up. It was on cooldown, so that was actually pretty good timing out from Fnatic. Just unfortunate they couldn't pile on to that Brewmaster fast enough. And just with that spell use, Raging keeps them in the game. They take the last outer tower away from Fnatic. And now Fnatic are playing up against the ropes. 17 to 33, 8k lead up for SMG, and they are trying to cut creep wave down bot, looking for an opening. There is the slam ready and off. Ooh, you've got to be a bit cautious about staying here.
You certainly do. Raven, they're looking for the Morphling, but they're going to go after the line first. Still Moon gets caught. Fisher's there. Echo Slam then from Arfu and Roger again with the disruption. Another great save from the Shadow Demon, and they've got Januel down. But can they get Raven? It doesn't seem like it. But man, oh man, John, you've got to give a lot of props to Roger on this Shadow Demon this game. He has had so many saves. It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, he's just in the right spot at the right time. Him having all those kills early on in the game allowed him to get this really nice timing on the Aether Lens, and it's just been on a roll since then, working towards the Blink next, and that means he can sit so far back, Blink in, disrupt, mid-Ravage Cata combo, and keep getting those big saves he needs. And they still have Aegis, so the high ground's open here for SMG.
No mana on mid one, but he won't mind. He just wants to hit that tier 3 tower, because Fnatic going to do their absolute best to delay things with the Invoker and the Venomancer, and well, you can do a pretty good job of it with the with all the spells you have on Armel, and of course the Plague Ward's just so annoying from jabs. You might be getting to that point as well for DJ, if you can farm it up, to go for an Aghanim Scepter now, because you probably are going to need some more defense on that high ground, and I think the Ags might be the way to go here for DJ on that tide.
It's just a bit slow going. You're a support tide. Even as a pause 4, you're going to need a lot of space to get a 4.2k gold item up. And there's just not much room for DJ with no outer towers left. They have no jungle to play with. They can't just go out and push a lane. Only Armel's really getting that done right now for the side of Fnatic. So that build-up should come out. I agree with you there, Mike, but it's just going to take too long. And this is where the question of Venomancer core comes into play, because you could have still run Venomancer support, right? You could have still run maybe a pause for Veno, instead prioritize a tide for farm, let him build up into the Ags, let him build into a refresh. but it's Jabs who's soaking up a little bit more of that farm. He's got the Midas, he's working towards Ags. Increased damage and lower cooldown on Nova does lead to a better high ground defense. I just don't know if that's going to be enough, considering that we've got BKBs on SMG. It doesn't feel like it's going to be enough.
Moon's going to fight Genuel. Going to be a line kill for the Quap. Or rather, Arfu taking it on the Earthshaker. Bit of a group up down a bot lane to boot, but DJ's in the tree line, so he should be just fine. They don't seem to know he's around, and with that, mid one's Aegis has expired. So this could be the opening Fnatic wants as bot lane. Armel has been caught out as Arfu does commit the Echo Slam, but Armel gonna BKB Ghost Walk away with the spider legs, and he is a very fast invoker. Still, Moon does have a gem up and seems to believe that Armel is around here somewhere. And he's actually on target. He seems to know exactly where Armel's going. In the meantime, though, bot lane Jabs is being chased down by mid one and is appearing to drop, as they could not get the Invoker back in time to help out. Now Armel is back into the base as Raven will get to work onto the Ursa, but mid one, he's not done yet. He really wants DJ, but he's gone too far. They finger him down now, and it seems like Fnatic can finally have an opening to try and turn this game number 2 around, as they've got Roger. They'll go after Raging now on that Brewmaster, who does not have the primal split at the moment, but a nice block on DJ, putting him in between a rock and a hard place, as a Sonic Wave will get enough done from Moon. Still a favorable trade here for Fnatic, however.
Actually doesn't matter.
And SMG should not be able to push high ground.
And that holds them off from taking more objectives. Have to say, no BKBUs coming out there from mid one. They did manage to get the chain stuns off. I think he was looking for that save from Roger, but this time around he was caught out by the Ravage. So no disruption save, just kind of cut off, and that opens up the game a little bit more for Fnatic. They are still playing at an 8k deficit. But the good news for them is that SMG doesn't have the Roche to fall back to yet. They have room to shove in waves, room to get more farm going, get that Scotty up in Raven for more stats. Satanic already up on the Morph, so he's going to be able to sustain himself through these fights a little bit better. I think for the side of SMG, the real key item they need is the Ags up on Raging Potato. He is just about 150 gold short. You need those charges on Primal Split. Once you have that, I think you can start fighting again on SMG. You definitely can, as that is the big moment for Brewmaster. In fact, after that, it's only really refresh you need. So there's the Ags. Primal Split charges ready. That should allow them to keep fighting up against Fnatic. And Fnatic are going to have to find a way to deal with that Brewmaster, because if Raging just splits up, it's going to be a dangerous fight.
Why is production showing replays of the Skybox? I mean, I know Neff's doing a decent job. No need to try and hype him up. Here is the Queen of Pain now being caught out by the Hex and Moon. Never mind, Echo Slam is there onto Genuel. So they've got one on the side of SMG, but Fnatic, can they keep going? Arfu, oh, nice stun. Gonna cancel the TP off as DJ is gonna be left behind. Fnatic going a bit too far this time around. They will pay with 2 supports, though everyone else gets out scot-free. So you'd rather not give any kills away to SMG right now if you can avoid it.
No, and that did cost some Cataclysm. It's a pretty long cooldown. Next Roche, how long is it going to be? It's instant. SMG. If they had Vision on Roche, they could just go in knowing that there was no Kata, knowing that there's no tie. They could force a buyback, but they're in the wrong spot for it. Maybe not expecting the instant Roche. So that's a bit of a blessing in disguise here for Fnatic. They get to keep playing this game. They're not losing too much on the map. And SMG are still playing on the hunt. They really want to pin down Armel, but he's just a bit too slippery. Someone has got to check that Roche. Like, it's such a quick timer. It's such a good timer for SMG, but with the respawn coming out from DJ, it feels like that moment has kind of passed.
And that it does. Nobody figuring it out yet. Fnatic, this could be an opening for them. I mean, if they manage to contest this Roshan. Keep in mind, they haven't contested one successfully yet today. I believe every time SMG does get away with it. But they do manage to get this one with the Refresher Shine and the double Ravage. That could be game-changing. Problem is SMG now. They're going to go high ground. Raging does have the double Primal Split, so it's going to be rather hard to try and defend this one. At least while those 2 charges are available here for Raging, as they're going to move in. Moon, again, has found Raven, and he was Agimorphing! He was Agimorphing! The perfect jump in from Moon, with the Scythe device, but now they'll try to turn on the Ursa. Problem is he had the Enrage in time, so the Ravage, it does absolutely nothing as they can take the fight. Raven, though, with the buyback, going to try and fight back, but he can't stick around too long. Mid one is going to survive, at least for now, and get back to the low ground, as SMG might want to try and get a reset of mid one. He's still going to get caught out and does eventually die. So they will chase for more. Roger, trapped in that tree line. Should be the second to fall for SMG. And so they got the tier 3 tower, but they've lost 2 heroes. And John, Fnatic might check the Roshan pit.
Okay, if they check it, they're going to find a nice, pleasant surprise that it's still up. But look at SMG. They're taking more. They're still forcing that issue bot. They have the TP back to stop that. And that is going to hold them back. Raven does see Roche. Is going to try to get this done by himself. The side of SMG. Buyback's going to be forced. They need to fight this.
They know what's happening. They know exactly what's going on, as the ward was there to give a bit of vision. DJ immediately going to get blown up, and now Raven, he just fought back. He can't afford to die like this, but he's gone. Oh boy.
Oh, God.
He's down for over 100 seconds here, as Armel's going to have to pull off some magic. Oh, and he gets caught out. Roger, he's 2 on the money today. That'll be Armel without buyback to boot, John. 3 heroes down without buyback for Fnatic. This should be it for SMG. It should be Roshan right into the base, into Megas. We'll see what Fnatic can do to try and delay it, but it's hard to imagine they can.
No Ravage up in DJ. I think that's the one play you had. Blank Ravage steal. And the timing of that would have had to been perfect. And sure, they don't manage to give Aegis away towards their Ursa. They can hold on to the cheese, pass it on. And you're still in a pretty good spot. Refresh shard for Raging. So 3 charges of Primal Split is going to be there, Mike. That is a scary prospect, as Raging has done a lot of work since getting the Ags up. And I think for Fnatic now,
do they not realize?
Stuck. I think they do. They needed to shove waves back in. Like the mid wasn't shoved in, top shoved out, bot was also kind of shoved back in. So they're just going to go now. But not much time left until the response. That's still enough time to rip through a lot of these objectives, though.
Well, mid-rank's certainly going to go down. Moon, oh, he's so aggressive today, Moon. On that Quap with the Hex out, onto Jabs, and now the Spirit Vessel and Fisher. They're just taking shots from a mile away, and they're going to get him. He does have buyback, though, on the Veno. Not that that means anything right now, though, John. He's had a pretty tough game here, Jabs.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom racks will be taken.
They'll
have Raven up.
They have the combination for the defense, so they can at least force a fight on this last set of racks, but they've got to find a perfect angle here. And SMG, they've still got the saves from Roger.
Problem is, with Raging in that Primal Split form, it's so hard to make the jump in. A DJ, he's immediately been stunned up. Still, they will try to focus down Roger, and they do get Genuel down. Roger somehow still alive. Now Moon being chased down by Raven. As DJ does end up going down on the Tide. Just only support's really dropping, but 2 are down for Fnatic. And SMG, they're not interested in fighting. They just want that final lane of barracks to finish off this game number 2. But Moon, he is interested. He's back in again. A great Echo Slam out, and there's your Sonic Wave from SMG. That should be it. That should be the GG call. But Raven, it is a 1v3 scenario, and he did get mid one. So 1v4 now. Raven is going to continue trying. It is the regional finals after all, John. Loser of this game, or rather the series does go, and yeah, they've called the GG. They don't believe they can do it. SMG will be able to proceed through to the lower bracket final of this regional finals. And unfortunately for Fnatic, they are going to have to leave today.
Yeah, this was the lower bracket. This was an elimination game. SMG just turns up, especially after what happened yesterday up against Boom. It looked like an entirely different team today. This is what we were expecting from SMG. This is the kind of aggression we were looking for. They made some great judgment calls on their movement out. They get the Afu special in the second game. They play spectacularly well here. They managed to... They run this insane trial lane for such a long time, and it looked like this. You can see how happy Orin is in the background with Raging. Look at those guys. Still moving under gunfire, but they managed to find cover and stay alive for another day here. And the side of Fnatic, unfortunately, are out. They play a really great game. Armel had some good Sunstrikes in the laning phase. They counteracted the trial lane with their own, and did manage to get something going. They got Raven a really good start, but just not enough. I think they gave away too much comfort to the way of SMG, and SMG just played with it. I mean, Afu's Shaker, man. not just Afu, Moon delivered the goods throughout both games. His Queen of Pain was just insane in this game as well.
I want to know what they slipped into Moon's coffee this morning, Jonathan. He has 45 kills in 2 games. The man just lost his mind. I don't know what happened, but he saw his old team. He just saw red. he remembered those great times as CEO, and as the CEO of SMG, John, there can only be one CEO in this series. Moon is the CEO that we're having here today, and well, with that, we are going to head to a very short break. Right after that break, of course, we'll be back with our lovely panel to discuss what happened in this game number 2. See you.
What a game number 2 that we saw coming out from SMG, resulting in them taking this series at 2-0 over Fnatic. And unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to Fnatic in the Southeast Asia regional finals. They will be picking up $10,000 for the team, but no extra DPC points than the amount that they already had. I don't know the amount off the top of my head, but we will find out. But they don't pick up any more DPC points for them, unfortunately. But what a great game. You guys hyped me up for the Afu Earthshaker, and man, did he deliver. That was just absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, he just did a fantastic job. I mean, we expected that from Afu, and he did a great job. But could I just say, everyone on SMG today, they just looked incredible. Like Roger with the saves, Afu with the setup, and then Moon. I, again, don't know what they've given to Moon this morning in his coffee, but 45 kills in 2 games. The man just lost his mind, and it's unbelievable.
It really was an absolute showing. Sorry, what were you going to say, John?
Their aggression was just on point today from SMG. They just played so well. Everyone played as a great unit. And it's just surprising. A team coming around performing like this today after what happened yesterday with Boom. I don't think anyone would expect that, but SMG still has it. Like, maybe up against Boom. Boom is just Boom. But SMG still has that power against everyone else. And you know what? To be fair to SMG, they were forcing out Spirit Breaker Morphling a lot yesterday. So this time they fall back to some standard drafts of SMG, and they just make it work. And I think that's where they're strong. They just go back to what works, and they show us why it works.
Yeah, they were willing to adapt and change as well to the different drafts that we saw from Fnatic. I say different, it still was going for that longer sort of play style, heading for that late game. But in the end, it didn't matter. SMG were not taking their pedal off at all. There was constant pressure onto Fnatic, and it really shows as we will eventually flip through all of those statistics and highlights for the teams. But Mike, favorite play? Yesterday I asked player. I'm going to ask for play today.
Ooh, that's a hard one. My goodness. I mean, that last play was pretty sick. I mean, the jump in for the Roshan. I didn't think SMG was going to go for it that quickly on, but the Fisher into the Echo into the Sonic Wave, and Raven was just not ready for it. I think that would probably be my favorite, just based off the fact that I can remember it right now. But there were so many plays available. I mean, Roger with the saves this game as well.
Yep.
There was one fight where he disrupts Raging Potato. He survives on a slither of HP and gets a primal split off, and then they just take the fight, and they end up winning the fight. Just crazy stuff happened in this series.
Showing after showing, SMG were like, we are not that 4th place that other teams and maybe viewers might think we are in this competition. John, the itemization coming out from SMG as well, very key for them, but walk me through how much it really did help them win this game.
It helped him massively. Like we saw for a while, Raging Potato was being caught out, and he was still queuing up the Ags at that point. He switched it out for the Aeon Disc, delaying the Ags, and that made all the difference. Like being able to sustain through the initial burst, the hexes, the fingers coming out from the Lion, and just having the split afterwards enabled SMG to take those later fights. And I think that was probably the most important item shakeup in this game. Just the Aeon Disc on that Brewmaster enabled SMG to take those mid-game fights.
Well, that is a great player that you have pointed out, because Raging Potato is also going to be joining us for an interview, so we can ask him some questions about this series when we get there. Raging Potato, thank you so much for joining us. How are you and the team down at SMG feeling? You guys avoid being kicked out of the regional finals.
Yeah, it's good. Can you guys hear me?
I don't know if you can hear us. I cannot hear you, Raging Potato.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you now.
Hello? What was the question again?
I was just asking how you guys are feeling down on Team SMG, especially after avoiding elimination.
Feeling good. Then maybe we're gonna celebrate Nana's birthday.
That's good. I'm glad you guys deserve the celebration for sure. I also want to know, there was a big drafting difference for you guys today compared to yesterday when you went up against Boom, and I want to know why the change for that, and was it something you were more comfortable with today?
Don't really know. 'Cause most of the time when they're drafting, they speak in Chinese and I'm outside smoking. So I don't really have a
Like,
clue.
I trust the team. I trust them. Well, John, if you have any questions for Raging Potato.
Yeah, I'm curious, Raging. You know, you guys played really well in the first 2 games, and how was the team's mindset after what happened yesterday? Like, how did you guys bounce back after what looked like a strong performance from Boom, and then coming out and having this insane performance today? What was that like for all of you?
Nothing much. We just open the replay and talk about it. And I think draft wise, we're not tunnel vision about SB and Morpher anymore, so that changed up a lot.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Now, I'm curious, you know, you guys are going to be moving on. We still have to see what your opponent will be. Is there any team you'd prefer to fight against in that lower bracket finals here? Is there one team that you guys, or you in particular, want to play against here?
Nothing much. I just want this to be done. This tournament.
All right, Mike, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned you wanted the tournament to be done, Raging. Are you a little bit bored right now? It just doesn't excite you very much.
Nah, it's just that after this tournament, going back to Philippines.
Going back.
That's why I want this
you miss home a
be
little.
done. Yeah, miss my kid.
Fair enough. Fair enough. With that as well, you kind of mentioned the boys tend to talk in Chinese when you're drafting, so you just go out for a cigarette. Do they talk in Chinese while you're playing as well? Like, do you have to just play on your own?
Yeah.
Really?
But
Wow.
I can
So
understand them a bit, so it's fine.
Okay.
Very
But you-
impressive.
Oh, never mind. You go ahead, Nat. Don't worry about it.
No, have you got one more? Because I was going to close it out, so this is your chance.
No, I was gonna ask, Raging. You obviously don't speak Chinese though, so you just.
I
just listen
speak a
and you
bit,
just- Okay.
and I understand
there
them a
we go.
bit as well.
Well, Raging, thank you so much for joining us. Before I do let you go, though, I asked Fnatic yesterday this question. Actually, I didn't get a chance to ask Fnatic yesterday, but I've been asking the teams how they think the standings will be at the end of the regional finals. Obviously, Fnatic being out in fourth, but who do you think is going to come first, second, and third?
Hopefully we can win this. Then probably it's Boom, then T1.
Alrighty, I look forward to seeing if that's going to come to fruition. Thank you so much for joining us, Raging, and congratulations on the win.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm very impressed that the team communicates in Chinese, and he's like, I don't fully understand, but it's enough that we're clearly winning.
To give credit to him though, even in execration, and I think John can attest to this. Raging Potato would always play on his own. Like as that off lane, you'd always see him doing something on his own. He'd go for solo kills. He'd split push on his own a lot of the time. So it seems like SMG have almost picked up Raging Potato because they know he can handle it. They know he likes to play solo anyway.
He definitely can. That's going to conclude our first series, though, of the day with Fnatic getting knocked out of the regional finals, SMG moving on to the lower bracket finals. This is going to be it from MLP and John. So after this break, we will be back with another series and 2 new casters.